This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks. That's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag. You hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Hey-o. Wow, this is loud.
Hey-o.
Welcome back to the podcast. Which one is it? I don't know. Got a whole network of them. I can't keep anything straight anymore. This is the Okayest Hunter podcast, coming at you from Oconomowoc. Oh,
Yeah.
from
We're all-
Oconomowoc.
All rocking the orange tonight?
Yeah, what the fuck? There it is. Anyway,
How'd you do that?
I don't know. It does it. Stop doing that to me.
I love
Anywho, well, yeah, welcome to the show. Blaze Orange to represent. I saw you, Greg walked in with one. You had yours on, so I was like, well, I gotta grab mine because it's still gun season. It's a 9-day season here in Wisconsin. Who knows how many other people are doing gun hunting
It's
right now?
the second week of deer camp.
And all the guys are
There you
here.
go.
Woohoo! Yeah, we're brought to you by Half Rack. I put all my Half Rack stuff to use this last weekend. It was pretty cool. Everyone loved the cooler. Like, whoa, look at this freaking cooler. This thing's freaking huge. That's pretty neat.
You didn't put your deer in there, did you? No, you brought it back. Well,
My what? My deer? No, I didn't quarter it up. Yeah, that would have. I've never done that. I need to have a mentor.
for the first time in my Wisconsin hunting career, I witnessed someone quarter their deer to pack it out.
Who
Yeah.
did
Um, two guys who were.
I
They-
witnessed with my
they
own
were
eyes.
in our-
You literally touched.
I watched them from afar. Opening morning after my dad shot his buck, I heard two shots real close, and then watching the edge of the clear cut, two guys popped up and they had finished a deer. They'd shot it through the hardwoods on the other side of the swamp and
Mhm.
trailed it as far back, and then they shot it close to where we were, and then they ended up cutting it up, packing it out, and we dragged ours, and that was a mistake.
and that was
Get back
a,
here with those backpacks, gentlemen.
That was a mistake.
And that was your dad's deer was a pretty hefty deer.
It's a big body deer,
Yeah.
actually. It was pretty
Yeah.
nice. It was a drag I won't forget.
That's cool,
I
man.
bet.
How fun. I just swapped you. Do you see this? Watch this real quick. Ready, set, go. I don't know why I got mirrored like that, but it was tripping me out. I was looking at the screen like, you're over here, but you're over here.
I thought it felt a little weird at first. I was like,
I was
what,
like, what's happening
am
here?
I living in an alternate
you,
universe?
you might be. Yeah.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Holy cow.
Where our
Uh,
wives actually like us going.
Oh, you're the
What
best,
a
honey.
dream.
You need to just keep doing that.
No, you've just been slaving away at this dad job too hard. Get out to the woods.
We're not gonna have wives we get off this podcast if they're listening. Oh, for crying out loud. Spartan Forge saved the day in the middle of the dark. Got turned around as predicted on the opening morning. We were set pretty far back in. I was like, man, I know we weren't lost, but we might not have made it to our stands in the dark time. And it's easy to get turned around out there, as you're aware, Greg. You've been there or anywhere for that matter, especially at the Northwoods where you are.
I didn't get turned around, but like a couple of the other crew ended up like right behind me. I'm like, who is this jackass coming through? It was Mike.
My dad had to make a loop back up
Yeah,
to the road and
and-
restart. He's like, nope, I got turned around. I went back to the road and did
Yup,
it again.
Your dad even came in right behind me too. So I had two people like right hot on my trail. I got up my tree and all settled in, and all of a sudden I hear crunching and I hear swearing and I hear heavy breathing.
It had to have been Chuck.
No, that was Mike.
Mike? Oh,
Yup.
yeah.
And then like your dad came in. Actually, I think your dad was the first one. I think it was him.
Yeah, that would have been him.
And then he-
heavy breathing.
Yeah, because I turned my headlamp on and I hear, oh fuck. And then he turns around and he starts walking the other direction to where he was supposed to set up. And as the crow flies, he was probably a couple hundred yards up a ridge and through a clear cut or an opening from me. And then not 10 minutes later, here comes Mike doing the same thing.
Which is weird because Mike doesn't hunt over there. So I don't know.
Well, but he did that morning
Yeah.
because he clearly got way turned around.
yeah.
I think-
Eventually, he's got to sit and like, all right.
And that's what he did. He just sat down like 50 yards away. I'm like, what is this jackass doing?
He probably saw another hunter. Goes,
Yeah.
well, I don't know who that is. No, I'm not going any further.
Yeah. So I kind
think-
of pulled the binoculars up and look. I'm like, oh, that's Mike. And then, eventually Mike's just like, I'm getting out of here. And he boogied off. I don't know
think
where he went from
Greg
there.
had the good spot on the map, and those guys were just trying to beat you in there. No, Greg, you're in the wrong spot. You're just over there.
Oh, well, what do you do?
Keep walking.
Anyway, I was glad that we got out of that situation. Joel's like, I think you're going the wrong way. I was like, yeah, let's start with definitely the opposite direction.
Do you walk in like with another guy or two
Not
and then kind
ty-
of split
not
off, or how do you guys
but
typically
based
do
on
it?
how we were doing it this year and where we had set up, we kind of did a little bit walking together. It's kind of like, oh, I got to this spot where you sit. Now I go to the next. And
Yep.
it's like this like slingshotting effect where you keep recalibrating your brain. Okay, I know where we are because I know where your spot is. Now I know which way to kind of go.
Yep.
But yeah, when it's that dark, it's easy to get turned around in the dark. Like there's no horizon line to get you level set at all. But yeah, so that was a thing. What else? I don't know. Log some time on Go Wild. I gotta go log time. I keep saying that, and then I just
Don't.
it feels like I don't want to make it sound negative, but like logging time feels like work. Again, I have it all set now. I know all the time I have, and then yeah, I hunted out of the saddle day one for quite some time for most of the morning, and after that I hunted the ground the rest of the time. And
Do a little still hunting, walking and sitting, or what?
I eventually ended up at the spot in the pines that I like.
hmm
I was like, well, I'll give this a shot because it's anybody's guess. There's so many hunters up there. Deer aren't doing anything normal.
Did you see a lot of people in the woods?
A lot of the other guys did coming off the trails and stuff. And I got to the spot and I was telling more stories. I was like, you know what? This feels good. Let's just do this. Let's sit right here. And sure enough, it worked out just fine. So after-
Somebody nudged one your way.
Yeah, well, there's a
I'm gonna
buck-
want to
there's
hear
a-
a little bit more about
Yeah.
that.
there's a buck and a doe, and they didn't come in pressured at all.
Really?
They came in just kind of casually, and I didn't see the doe at first. I only saw the buck, so I was like, "Pfft, shooting you. I don't care what's going on. I'm shooting something. And yeah, I put my crosshairs on him. Now I had switched ammunition, 15 grains heavier, thinking it wouldn't make too much of a problem.
Yeah.
Questionable choice on my part.
Yeah.
I killed the deer. I got him where I needed to, but it took me a couple shots to get on him. But and then I saw a doe coming through, and then she got real close. And at that point, I'd already just racked a couple rounds on this buck, and I'm feeling like he's dropped, and that's like dead. Rack another round, scope, doe. And I was like, what am I doing? What should I kill her? I don't want to drag two deer out and got two. Like, I'm butchering two. What am I doing? And then she eventually figured out I was right there, and she closed the distance up to like 30 yards, then pitched the other direction. I still could have got her, and I was like,
You were going full on.
I was red, dude.
Rambo.
I was
Who's
like,
next?
honestly, I was like that. That's what it felt like. I called it kill mode. I was like, oh, I could really just feel it taking over and coursing through my veins. It
Let's
was
go.
pretty wild.
Good for you, man. That's
That was
awesome. How far was he on the first shot?
About 100 yards.
Oh, okay, so a little heavier bullet maybe could have dropped a little bit in 100 yards.
But yeah, I don't.
Who knows?
Who knows?
You
man?
would know more
And
about
so
than
the
anyone.
spot that I
Not
s-
much.
15 grains. I mean, but they're running hotter powder in those rounds also. Nosler runs pretty good
Mhm.
powder in their stuff. So
Probably shouldn't make a difference.
it shouldn't make that much of a difference.
I
At
didn't think it
100
would
yards.
make that much of a difference, was my thought. Because when I was grouping,
But-
when I sighted in with my other rounds,
Yeah.
didn't have the nozzlers yet. I was putting them in like a fist
Yeah.
size punch card at 100. I was like, "Pfft, well, at 100, if I even expand out to a paper plate, I should still have a dead deer.
Mhm.
So eventually the one that got him put him down is right in the neck.
Cool.
So all the meat on that thing is going to be perfect.
Nice.
No guts, none of that business. Not like this freaking tank swamp donkey.
Yeah.
Remember I cooked those steaks up? Were you here when I did that? And how much that stunk?
Yeah.
When I
You're
took a
like,
bite of
hey,
one, I
take
was
a
like,
bite.
That
And
was not
I
good.
took a bite, a courtesy bite,
It was
and
terrible.
I chewed it
It was terrible.
and I swallowed it. But I said, do not ever again do that.
Just had some like stomach bile.
Oh,
in
it
the cavity.
did. The whole
sat in
inside
there.
was green.
It's terrible.
It was.
Holly's like, it smells bad in here when you're cooking that.
And that had only sat for the morning.
It
Right?
didn't sit long. It's just
Because you shot
And
it
he
in
rinsed
the
them out in the
morning.
river.
yeah, literally rinsed them in the river. But it's just the fact that if it sits on there for 20 minutes, that stomach bile, all that acid gets in the meat and in the fats that are around the meat, and it's all over. Anything, it gets all sour inside. Yeah. Blech. So-
and this was a young buck, so honestly, it should be extra good.
Yeah,
It's
it'd be
an
fine.
8-pointer, right?
It's
like an awesome little
I was like,
8-pointer.
wait, this thing's got 8 points. What the
That's
hell?
so
I thought it
cool.
was I thought it was gonna be like a 4-pointer for
Frick,
sure.
yeah.
It's a literal basket rack 8. Whatever, man. It felt good. My
You
daughter,
you'll
is-
kill next year's trophies today.
Yeah,
so it's
everyone,
fine.
yeah, a couple people are like, oh, yeah.
That's the old spoon and crock pot right there.
That's spoon and crock pot. cup.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Logan's like, finally, Dad, I get to eat deer. I'm like, well, we have other deer, but she only likes the snack sticks.
Mm,
So those go quick. We run out fast, and then she's left with nothing because she is not interested in the other types of food.
Probably should have smashed that dough and just sent one of them for pure.
Yeah,
I'll take the
That's not a good
loins
idea.
and the rest is snacks.
right?
Shit ain't cheap, man.
No,
No.
it's
That's
not.
honestly, it came down to like a bit of a financial choice, and I was like, well, he's dead over there. If I shoot here, she's gonna go that way. Ah, feeling pretty lazy. Typical gun. And working too hard for it. And he died right by the road. I was like, this is great.
How was the motor running in the morning? Did you boys party on Friday or?
Yeah, yeah. Did oh
So
hey
the-
hey everybody who's in here? We got lots of comments from them. I didn't even think about those comments here. Sorry, buddy. Good evening, fellas. I think you guys are great. Thanks. I think that's Drew. Rifle season in 3 weeks here. I'm not sure. It says Facebook users. He must be in one of the groups. Drew with Oak Tree Dreams. What's going
Nice.
on, guys? Can't believe it's that time of year again. Yes, sir. Facebook user, upstate New York.
Okay.
Who's this filthy walrus?
Upstate New York. I wonder if that's old Johnny Vajagas. Johnny, is that you?
Oh, that'd be interesting. Filthy Walrus says, have hunted every day in Langdale County so far. Like those YouTube usernames popping up on the screen. I don't know who we're going to get. Ooh, Zach.
Langlade. That's my neighbor right there. Filthy Walrus. We're right next door. We hunt the little Langlade. Little
no
northern
way.
Oconto
Yep.
Look at
County.
that. So you know the
Mhm.
Filthy Walrus. When I do rifle hunt, I usually take a frame pack because I tend to go even deeper than normal in the woods so I can pack them out. Nice.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
Good idea, Zach.
What's up, Levi? Just going to finish saying hi to everybody here. Hey, gents. Michael Kreshimmer. I can't say
Mr. Kreshmer.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. Good old Bill. Hey, Bill. Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you, sir. Tony Smith. Happy gun season, guys. Well, there's okay, guys. I'm going to have to stop doing this here. You guys are. There's a lot of comments, guys. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Too much love.
We got- we
Knock
got-
it off. Calm down.
We're getting love bombed.
Whoa, whoa.
We got a phone number. You know, you can always call too
Chill,
if you want to
chill.
jump in. Oh,
Oh,
here's
it's Calder.
oh, who's this guy? Died by the road, and you didn't get elbow deep in the cavity. That's right, Dad. That's right. Sure know how to pick those good spots.
Mhm.
Like how his YouTube name is his actual name.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
And your dad got a doe, right? Congrats,
He did.
Congrats, Chuck. Well
Yeah,
done.
Yeah, good job.
Good for you.
He shot and it died, and then I was gonna go help him try to gut it and drag it. And by the time I got over there, he was all
Had her
I
out
don't
the
know where
front.
I don't know if he went and got back to his cart or I don't know what he did, but it was all said. Done. Oh yeah, I remember him. He had to fiddle around. He's like, I lost a cotter pin for my cart. I gotta figure this out.
Oh, that is the worst. If you got the carts that go together
Oh
and
my
the
God.
wheels stay on with the cotter pins,
Cotter pins always pop out of them. All you
Do
got to do
your-
is drive right through some grass and it'll pop out.
do yourself a favor, go to the hardware store, buy
Stock up on a
20
couple.
cotter pins, put them in a
Mhm.
bag, and electrical tape them to the handle so you always have extras.
No
because
joke,
how
man.
many times have you,
All the
or
time.
one breaks when you go over a little rock and those little cheap
Dude,
ones,
I've whittled
bing,
I've whittled down a piece of stick, a green, tree branch and jammed it in there.
we used
and
to
it-
just have like a
It made it sort of.
wire,
Mm,
just
wire
a strand
even.
of wire, and you just wrap that around the handle because the
Mhm.
wire,
Yeah,
decent
why-
enough.
it's good
it'll
enough to
work.
hold the washer on there if you don't lose the washer.
I think we don't have any washers left or no
Yeah.
original cotter
After after the cotter pin disappears, what follows it? The washer. Yeah, not so good.
You usually only notice when the wheel falls off.
Yeah. And that's 100 yards later, maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things.
Brian, do you guys do any good sky dumps lately?
I thought about Brian on Saturday, actually. I thought about the sky dump. I did not let her rip, though, Brian.
My dad still doesn't got it. And so, actually, speaking of sky dumps, what do you guys think about pissing out of the tree?
It's fine.
Big no, or who cares?
Super
Doesn't-
fun. Funnest part of a day without deer. Woo!
Let her rip, Tater Chip.
Some guys are really. My uncle, I think, went bow hunting. He was out bow hunting with us. I wouldn't say I went with him per se, but he had said, "It's the first time I pissed out of my tree stand in my entire hunting career. I had to go that bad." I was like, "You've never pissed out of your tree?" He kills huge deer, so like if that's one of the things that is like the thing that could be a contributing factor, then I wouldn't piss out of the tree either. But I don't know. As I age up, my bladder's like shrinking or something's happened. I'm like, I gotta go right now. Like, heaven forbid I try to do a task. Well, I have to pee. It's like I can barely fish it out of there quick enough, through those 4 layers.
Jeez, those
Like,
damn
where's that-
layers.
I'm gonna piss myself. But in the saddle, you gotta kind of like pivot. You gotta pivot,
Yeah.
spin it,
Yeah.
get your bridge to spin in the
Yeah, move
carabiner,
around.
and you're like, man, peeing out the
Are
tree.
you hitting the bridge hole or are you hitting the?
No, I'm one leg off one leg on the platform, other leg's dangling, and I'm just tilted,
doing
pissing.
the
First world man problems.
I try to pee as much as often from the tree
much
because
as-
that's usually when I see deer. It's like,
Kind
can
of
I
when you
got-
go to the restaurant. Like if I go pee right now, I come back, my food will be here.
yes. So go,
Yeah.
go as much as you can.
Yeah. How many times you had a buck show up with your dick in your hand?
Legit one time for sure.
200 bush shaker.
I think Dave was up hunting by us and I was in this swamp stand and I hadn't seen
I happened to me
anything.
once.
Haven't heard a dang thing all day and it's like 12:50. I'm like, that's it. I'm standing up, hadn't moved, had been so careful.
Gotta
I'm
go.
like, I gotta piss. And I'm just in like a real low stand in this little group of evergreens. I stand up and I start peeing and it's I'm freaking 40 yards away. I was like, God dang it. It comes like a fork horn. I'm like, are you joking me? All day, nothing. The one time the gun's not in my hands and here comes a freaking fork.
Well, the first time so the spot I was talking about where I got the deer that I got, I've killed so many deer out of that literal spot. So in fact, 14 years ago, yesterday or whatever it was, I sent a picture to the cameraman because I was telling him about it. And I'm like, look, 14 years ago, here's my Facebook memory
From there.
from that spot, like how fun. Anyway, before I had decided to hunt that spot, when I was scouting around after hunting 14-ish years ago, or maybe 15, something like that, I go over there, sit down. I'm young. I don't really know much about hunting at this point, other than I like to go with my dad and it's gun season. Wasn't bow hunter yet. Didn't have all the intel that we have nowadays. And I go pee and I left my gun leaning on the tree. And sure enough, like what appeared to be a giant at that point in time in my life, probably a nice 10-pointer, comes up this slope and it's just, you could see the breath like coming out. Like I was like,
Bambi's dad.
I was like, oh, holy shit. I was peeing and I didn't have my rifle. Now I had used it was when I got my buck because I got my first buck ever with my shotgun the day previous. It was a spike. Then Sunday, this mega 10, in my opinion, at that time, comes up this ridge like 15, 20 yards from me. Didn't
Wow.
see me there. I'm just standing there peeing and it didn't see me. And I was like, what do I
Where's
do?
the gun?
And we didn't have the conversation. My dad and I didn't have the talk about if I see a big one, can I use your tag kind of thing or you whatever. Like, so I didn't shoot it. And I told him I got on the walkie-talkie and I was like, just come your way, and he shot and missed. And someone else happened to have shot a deer in a similar spot. So we blood tracked someone else's deer to a
Oh,
gut
no.
pile.
Oh no.
I was like, what the fuck? Why am I seeing a lung? And my dad's like,
You
wait a
lost a lung.
second.
This is good.
It
He
was
lost a
freaking
lung.
out. Yeah.
Here's his intestines.
Huge blowout. By the way, we're throwing hand grenades at the rib
Dude's
cages. of
looking
deer.
real good,
His nuts are in a tree. What the hell?
Wow, you really kabloom.
Whoa. Where'd you hit him, Dad?
But you could imagine the blood trail's getting better and better. I'm like, oh, and then it was just like the biggest letdown ever. Oh, it's a gut pile. I think it had drizzled or something like that. So it must have like reinvigorated some of the blood we were tracking to make it look or appear more fresh. Yeah, what a bunch of OKS hunters in the woods. Go figure.
I
Tell me about your camp.
not the same situation, but God, I don't remember what deer it was. I was blood trailing a deer that I shot with someone a couple of years ago. And right on the blood trail, all of a sudden, there was a dead deer laying there. And I was like, there's a dead deer here. And they're like, yours? And I was like, I don't think so. And along the blood trail, the deer had gone right past just a dead deer that was just laying there, like dead within the last few days. And I was like, what are the odds of that?
Well, I
That
mean,
is
you got
so
pretty
weird.
good because they travel similar corridors.
What the hell?
It's like the sniffy buck that Joel found. Yeah, it gets confusing sometimes. Weird events start to happen inside of those moments of the shot. It's always great when you can watch them die, or like not because you're sadistic, but it's just like where they went down.
Right.
Very true. Very true.
Craig, I don't know who wants to go next. I don't know. Farm boy over here or up north?
Well, yeah, I got to spend some time with my dad.
Hold on though, because you did that scouting video, 45 minutes of you poking around the woods, and
From
you're
the
like,
Sunday
"This is the spot
before.
I'm gonna hunt."
And that is exactly where I hunted. That's where I dragged my dad back to that spot. So if any of you guys saw the video, that's where we went.
It worked. He got one.
Yeah, we got one. I passed a small buck there. We saw
really
we saw
small.
a bunch of deer, so it was
Yeah.
good. Some people in the area that were hunting just north of us did some shooting, and the one guy we saw, the guy who packed one out, got a small buck, his first buck in 20 years.
That's
So
cool.
he was pretty excited. Turns out my dad knew him. My dad, we
Wow.
heard the shot. My dad walked down there just to, kind of touch base and talk to him. And holy crap, it's Tony Powers. He's got the like marine, they fix boats and store boats up in
okay.
Townsend, right? So my dad's known him his whole life. Holy shit, Tony, it's you. And it's like, I don't know how we're going to get this deer out of here. So he was with his son too. So I did that scouting last Sunday, went to a new area and it just looked awesome. Tons of deer sign in this new clear cut and nice thick area to the north where they're kind of coming up into this cut. So my dad and I kind of took a weird way in. We walked along this lake. The wind was out of the west. And when we got out of the truck, it was definitely blowing. Like even in the dark, it wasn't still. You could feel it. So we walked along the lake. So our scent was blowing over to this lake.
Yeah.
And then we popped up and I was in no hurry. I was like, Dad, I don't even want to poke up into that clear cut till it's light out. Like there's no sense in going
Especially
up
if you
there.
didn't really have a tree picked out.
Well,
It's-
no, I'm like, I'm not going. The deer are going to be out there.
Yeah.
You're feeding somewhere. It's a huge clear cut. But I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not going out there unless I can shoot. So he's like, let's go. He's used to being in the stand. So am I. Like usually we're
Wanna be
there
up
early.
there when it's,
But I
yeah.
was like, no, like let's just.
Well, what time about were you at that point? Like what time was it?
It was probably about an hour before light when we were like getting
I
close.
feel like it could have been all right. Like they don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you maybe disagree, but like
it's a 50-50
Yeah.
chance. I mean, if they're
I'm
right
on
under where
team-
you're
I'm
going to
on
go,
Team
then
Doug
yeah,
a little bit.
you're totally
To get
blowing
in
them
there?
out.
Yeah.
The deer are standing there and I can't shoot him. There's no use in walking in and bumping them. So like I would rather it be
Like
like,
you would have walked into them, not like I'm thinking like if this is the cut, right?
Yep.
And you're popping up, like at what point can you just set up and look over it? But you're saying like you just be in it right out of the gate. Like, am I thinking?
well,
like
you're
that?
on the edge, but I mean
Okay.
they like that edge.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
that's where they're traveling is
Yeah.
the edge, not necessarily out in the middle, which there were some out in the middle.
Okay.
I mean, we would have been fine, but Dad shot his on the edge.
Okay.
And that's where I had encountered a buck on that Sunday. So we literally let it get gray light, and then there's like a little gully that ran up, and I was like, well, you want to go up that point, and I'll go up this one, and then the cut's on top. I was like, just crawl up there and let's just sit. And we got up there, and it was just gray light getting light, and all of a sudden I see him get his gun up, and he saw deer traveling through that I couldn't see from where I was. I mean, it's very
It's awesome. how it
there's a
works like
lot
that,
of
though.
terrain.
You can be
Yeah.
that close, and they can still get through.
We're
you.
like 100 yards away looking
Yeah.
at the same thing. He's seeing them, and I'm like, I know there's deer there because I'm watching Dad look at his scope, and I'm like, I don't see shit. I see nothing.
Unless you did something really wrong.
He's
Where's he pointing at
that's a
that?
tree.
Dead street. No, it's another hunter.
No, he saw a couple deer filter through the middle that were a little bit further, but there's some big bulls out there and stuff, so I think they've been there. And then I told him, I was like, you just work this north edge. We're in the video I thought looked really good when we did the scouting. I was like, you just slowly, find a spot where you can see, sit, and then just work, and I'm going to swing way to the south. So I went way to the south and got in a good little spot, and I was just sitting on the ground, and all of a sudden I heard boom, boom, 2 shots pretty close. I'm like, sweet. Pretty good pause afterward. I was like, I think Dad's got a buck now. This is awesome. So I kind of just watching that way. I got my gun ready in case something would,
Yeah, of
come
course.
fleeing out. And 45 seconds later, all of a sudden I see my dad's orange hat. I'm like, he's coming toward me. Like he must have tried a huge one. He would not really like come and get me. Like that's really weird. But as he's coming up, I see he's like looking in a different direction. And he can obviously see me. And I'm like, uh-oh. And I see him like pull his rifle up. I'm like, shit, it's still up. Like the deer's still alive, probably. So I start running down there and I hear him shoot again. And when he shoots, I get my scope up the direction he's looking and I can see a rack. And I'm like, okay, he's got a buck. It doesn't look like it's moving much. But all of a sudden it like gets up and goes over the next hill. I get down there by my dad and he's moved a little bit. And I'm like, what's going on? He said, well, I hit him once. I missed him the other times. I don't know what's going on. He's like, but he's right down there. And I can see him. His head is up. And what had happened is my dad did the same thing in Missouri last week. His gun, I think, is shooting low. He should have shot it, but he shot right at the very bottom of the chest. So it's perfectly in line with the legs, but it went through the meat of one leg, cut open the bottom of the brisket, like under the chest, and then basically blew the other leg
Oh yeah, yeah.
completely. So that deer was not getting around well. There was blood everywhere, but he obviously heard us and he was going.
He's like, I need to.
Dad and I both pulled up and I was like, don't shoot. He's not, he's facing away from us. I was like, just wait for him to turn a little bit. And then he turned a little bit and I sent one into the shoulder and he just went down right there. But it was like, hey, and then like he
Combined
was
effort.
pissed because it was like not, he's
Yeah.
usually a real good shot, but
Yeah.
like, Dad, you got a buck, and we walked up and he thought it was a little dinker 1.5-year-old. And I'm like, hey,
Turns
that's
out you're not a
that's
total
a 2-year-old. Turns out you're not a total loser. No, but it was he had a broke G2, but a really nice body on it, big deer. And yeah, I hunted for a couple hours after that. And I think it was 11 o'clock. Dad sat up on the hill and was like, I'll gut it and take care of it. And he ended up just going and sitting. It was nice and cold. So I sat for a little while, got down at 11. He was going to the deer right as I was going to the deer. We didn't really plan it. I had no cell service. I'm like, hey, look at this. So it was kind of nice because I took Dad to the spot. I ended up gutting the deer for him.
Was it that real open area? Like
Yep.
you talk about clear cut? Okay.
Yep, right out in the middle of that clear cut is
Where
where
it
it
came out
died.
of the thick, nasty
So
stuff you were in.
It was on the edge, pretty much where I saw that buck the Sunday before.
Mhm.
It came right on the edge.
Oh yeah,
It was
That cool
really
to see that
close
up
to
on the
him.
hill there, just staring
Yep,
at you.
it was almost
Was
the
it
same
that buck?
spot. It could have
Did you
been.
look back at the footage?
I didn't look back yet, but it was very similar.
Interesting. It may. Well, I mean, who knows, right? Could have been, but
So the buck was on the edge, close to where we walked in.
Mhm.
But as my dad is, chasing him, he goes way up into this clear cut. So we ended up having quite a drag through there, and it wasn't the worst clear cut I've been in, but just still like
oh, it's
million
hard
logs
to
that are
navigate.
just causing friction.
That was a lot of work.
Caught
You
on
feeling pretty
everything.
sore still?
Yeah, we pulled him out. I had to pull him across a creek through a little lowland swamp close to the lake, and then once I got him up on the hardwood ridge, Dad's like, "Okay, you go back and hunt from here. It's easy. I'm gonna go grab the cart. I'll get him out." And I was like, "Okay." So then I got back and went in my saddle in that spot I really liked in the scouting video, and had a spike come out across the marsh, came right underneath me. It was pretty cool, but did not see the big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dad got his buck, 8-pointer, so it was cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Successful opening weekend.
Yeah, up north, man. That's hard to
And
come
Mom
by
saw
anything
some
up there.
deer.
Mom hunted at the cabin. Yep, she didn't want to go back there. Her sciatic nerves been bugging her when she walks, and it was a pretty decent walk. So she decided to stay at the cabin. She saw a spork.
A spork.
She saw a spork, a spike, and a fork.
It's like when they named
$2.
the freaking thing on Toy Story.
Sporkers.
Forky when it's a spork.
Forky. The kids love Forky.
Yeah. Forky asks a question. What the hell that is on? Yeah. That's my impression there. What do you think of this bourbon? Doesn't it have
Good.
like a good flavor?
It's very nice.
Wow. I'm really happy with this bourbon.
Yeah. It's
I know it's
very
right by
good.
the drop 10. Don't get me wrong. I like that.
This
is
tastes
different.
different. Way different.
This has like a flavor profile.
It almost has like a.
Like you want to be by a cozy fire in your cabin drinking this. You
This
know, it's
is-
worth taking your little things out to
This is very
to
oaky.
taste it.
This is like almost like I don't know,
Cinnamon,
spicy,
Vanilla,
tart, like
something.
it's-
There's a spice to
It
it.
doesn't. This is like oaky, your classic oaky bourbon, not bourbon.
It's really. I think it's very enjoyable. Like when I think of drinking, I don't know. It just makes me want to have like a Christmas moment or something like that, or a holiday moment.
I love holiday moments.
We're having one right now.
Cheers!
Cheers, guys.
Cheers to your buck.
Congrats.
Your
Congrats to
dough.
your dad. Yeah.
We'll
and
get
my
to your
dad's
dope
and
story.
it's your,
Yeah. So the next morning up north, Dad was sleeping in. Well, actually, he went out with my mom. But the next morning, I wanted to hunt the north side of that area, but we had gone out that way, dragging the deer. Those other guys had gone out that way. So I ended up coming in off a different road, and there's a logging trail that goes back there. It's a long ways, but it's easy.
you drive in on logging road?
No,
Okay.
they got stones across it.
Oh,
And when I scouted that clear cut, I saw that road. I didn't know exactly where it was, but on the map I found it. But there was like no human foot tracks on it. I was like, that's weird. There was mountain bike tracks, so somebody had biked back there, maybe
Smart.
hunting. I don't know. But the next morning I got on there, and I think it was just over 2 miles back to that area. But it's all super easy, just down a trail. And hunted the north side and saw, I think, 3 does and 1 small buck, close to where I hunted opening.
you don't
day.
want to take a doe, or you couldn't? You couldn't.
No doe tags up there.
Oh, no doe tags up there. Trying to repopulate the herd a little bit, huh?
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. Before we get to Greg's, we do have a caller. I think it's Ben Plass out of Appleton.
Uh-huh.
Benjamin.
We haven't talked to Ben in a while.
Hey Ben, how you been, Ben?
Hey guys, I'm doing all right. Hey, I heard that that story that Derek was telling, that was awesome. I figured I'd give you guys a call and see how you're doing.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks,
man.
man.
It's
Did
been a little while.
we see a picture? Did you take one of your little ones out, or did you just dress them up in
Yep.
orange? I saw the photo floating around.
Yeah. My oldest son has been asking about it. He hadn't really shown that much interest in hunting. He's a big fisherman. But then the last couple of weeks he's been talking about it. He found I had downloaded OnX on his tablet because, it's a little bit bigger screen and then I could just see better. And he thought that was some cool, wicked, awesome hunting app
That's
that
really
he was going to
cool.
use in the stand. And I'm like, dude, it's a map. Like,
Does it show you where the deer
But,
are, Dad?
How
yeah, well, he thought it was real time. I did bring him. My in-laws have some land kind of near Appleton, so we went out there just for the afternoon on Sunday. It was good. We kicked up a deer out of their, basically out of their lawn on our way in, and he's like, "Oh, that's my first deer I've seen hunting." I'm like, "Yeah, that's awesome, buddy."
Oh, that's cool.
So we had a pretty good time of it. Only a couple hours with a 6-year-old, but
That's
but
pretty
it
good.
was good.
Yeah, that's not bad for a
Had
6-year-old.
cocoa and stuff like that. So yeah, so I was able to do that. That was pretty eventful. I did miss, so I had an OKS moment. How do you guys shoot left-handed out of your saddles? I got to figure that out.
Oh, I have a way. So Joel, who is part of our hunting party, my good buddy, he was on the podcast last whatever day that was last week. I couldn't tell you. Thursday, I think. I don't know if this is OSHA approved or not, but
If you have to say that, it's not.
if you you turn around, put your back to the tree. So you're wearing your saddle, you have your tether, your bridge, all that stuff coming to your bridge. You turn your back to the tree with your feet facing out, and you take your tether and you put it over your like a seatbelt almost.
Over your right shoulder.
Over your right shoulder
Oh,
in
yeah.
my case. And then you can just lean forward, and now you can see behind you, which would be normally a total no-fly zone for any shot, unless in your strong side with your bow, you can get away with that based on how you can lean out with your bow. With a gun, it's quite a bit different, and you have recoil and stability that you need to really have locked down. So when you do it that way, you're pretty stable and it can work. Now, that being said, I tried that out on my setup when I was setting up because Joel's like, dude, just turn around, try it out. I was like, oh, this is freaking great. Wow. I was really impressed. Next day, I give it a try because it feels a little uncomfortable to pivot like that and turn around. It's like, ooh, this is a little scary. I mean, the worst that's going to happen, I'm just going to drop and dangle like whoop-de-doo, but it feels scary.
Yep.
And so I do that. And the way I had where my knot was, my Prusik knot?
Prusik knot.
Prusik
Yeah.
knot on my tether, it must have been just in a spot where it caught. And as I was leaning forward, it was like coming, like it was giving me slack. And I was like, oh my God, I'm falling out of the tree. I wouldn't have, but I was like, about shit my pants. So to the question earlier about sky dumps, I almost just sky shit my pants.
Accidental sky dump.
Yeah, it
not
wouldn't have
cool.
dumped anywhere. But I was like, holy shit. So I grabbed further back above where the knot was on my tether. And I was like, nope, we're not doing that today anymore.
That's just a de minimis release. It's
Anytime
fine.
you're shaking shit out of your bibs, that's no good.
So to answer your question, yes, but I would practice it at home on ground level
Yeah.
and get comfortable with how that all.
Yeah, I've done
comes
that with
together.
the bow, but I never thought about it. I didn't consider that with the rifle. So I did have a miss on opening morning on a little doe. My standards aren't very high.
Hey,
That's
they
all
don't
right.
need to be, man.
Yeah.
I
You're
don't
on
do a
the
lot
right-
of time
Goes
out
good in
there.
the freezer.
You're on the right podcast.
But so I, after a while, I waited afterwards, went and checked. Obviously, I knew right where it was. It wasn't very far away that I shot, and there was, no sign of anything connecting. So
Clean this.
I kind of had my tail between my legs. So I went and just thought about hanging out with my dad for a little while. It's like 11 o'clock, kind of the midday lull. Go sit with him, shared some of the cookies that my kids made and stuff like that. And we're shooting the shit. And then all of a
Sounds great.
sudden a doe walks by and I'm like, are you going to shoot that? He's like, no. I'm like, well, I am. Move over.
Cover your ears.
Get out of the way.
Hold my beer.
I don't know how many 33-year-old guys are still shooting does with their dads, but I do.
Hell yeah, that's
I would.
great.
I mean, I would have too. I'm like, 100%. I actually got down to go by my dad, who had just got. I was like, I'm gonna go hang out with my dad for a little bit. This is fun. But no, that's
Yeah.
cool. Good
Yeah,
stories.
He moved away. He lives like an hour away from me now, so we don't even ride together anymore. We used to, because we hunt
Yeah.
close enough to home that I just, we don't have a traditional deer camp, unfortunately. But so now we don't even ride together. So I'm like, well, I got to sit with him for a couple hours.
Yep.
And at least, get some of that going. So
I'm glad you
that
made
was
time.
fun. I've shot a lot of deer with my dad, even as an adult, and
It
we
brings
always
you
have a
right
good
back
time.
to being a 12-year-old kid, man. You shoot a deer with your
Oh,
dad
yeah.
present. I don't care how old you are. You go right back to those younger moments, and I'm sure he did too. I'm sure he looked at you and saw a
At
little
least this
kid,
time he
not a
didn't have to
33-year-old
gut
man.
it.
Yeah, right. Good thing you're gonna gut that and drag it out yourself, right, Junior? Like I gotta do it for you.
Pretty much.
That's cool.
Well, hey, I got to get going. I just thought I'd give you guys a call and see how things are going and check in. So
Great.
have a good one. Good luck the rest of your season.
I appreciate
Thanks,
it.
man.
Hey, thanks,
Great hearing
buddy.
from
Thanks
you.
for calling.
Take care.
That was a nice story.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Still shooting deer. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Like
That's
those,
what it's
those
about.
memories, like those
Yeah.
memories right there. Man, I remember, and I still do this, but sitting with my dad, if I'm ever like around him, I'm like, man, I gotta hear the deer before he does. Like, I can't let him hear it first. I can't let him see it first.
That's funny.
Because dad always, he'd be like, "It's gonna be a deer coming." He's sitting there with his eyes closed. Like, Daddy's sleeping. No, I'm just listening.
You do hear better when you close your eyes.
When
It
I
does
was a
focus your
kid, he
senses.
always used to do that. Like after like the first hour, he'd just sit there and he'd be like, "There's gonna be a deer coming out of the swamp." Bullshit! I didn't hear anything. 5 minutes later, there's a
There it
deer
is.
coming out of the swamp. Jesus, this guy's a magician. He's
Do you
conjuring the
notice though, when
spirits
you
of the
close
deer
your,
god.
when you close your eyes, you're hearing
He
much pick up a
manifested the
little
shit
bit
out of that thing.
When
because your body's like, oh, I need to use this sense now.
when I have a hard time deciphering where the sound is coming from sometimes when my eyes are open. But if I close my eyes,
You can
then you can like,
pinpoint
oh, it's right over here.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But when my eyes
It
are open,
heightens the sense.
Like,
'Cause
no,
it's
that's
like
a squirrel.
sensory overload with everything
Well,
going
the
on.
cameraman saw the deer first because he was a little bit closer to the area where they were coming
the hell
from,
stinks?
and I was like, "Yeah, Greg's tooting over here."
No, I'm
I was pretty gassy the next day. My stomach was like mad at me. I was like, my stomach's like, I'm
Gee,
like,
I wonder why.
I can't hear anything over my damn stomach.
Got the bush light shits.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, you got the Malort poops.
Malort.
Is what you
Oh,
got.
that was
I
bad.
saw
Malort.
that story on
Oh.
Instagram.
You know why that bottle of
I
shit
had
is still
one
there?
swig of Malort.
Somebody put some bathroom cleaner in there and made it taste a little better.
Or they. I see it's missing an inch. The weed whacker needed a little bit of fuel, so we added some of that.
Yeah, that's what it was. We took a shot of it ahead of time on Friday before anyone didn't fill a tag. I was like, I'm drinking it now. I want to get this bad monkey off my shoulder. If I drink it now, I'm hedging my bets that I'll have more luck than if I don't drink it.
Is there a good monkey to have on your
It
shoulder?
worked out, man. So now it's a good luck drink.
No.
Turned from a penalty to good luck.
How'd you drag your buck out, by the way?
What do you, I
Did you
just
grab onto the antlers?
one of the small antler handles, and
I did the
was
Garrett
it.
Prawl. Did you see him using the Latitude carbon stick?
No.
oh, what do you mean? No, I haven't seen this.
Yeah. So I saw like an Instagram story and Paul was like,
yeah.
"Yeah, just use your carbon stick and your tether." So I had my tether and I used that stick. I got it, wrapped with that cell strips. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, this would be good if Dad." I didn't really expect him to help. I don't want him to help. It's hard when you're going over uneven terrain with someone
Two
else.
people,
Do you
because
know what I
you're
mean?
almost
Yeah.
fighting
Because
each
it's like,
other.
and like you don't know the speed of it, and like I
No.
don't want
Yep.
anybody tripping and getting hurt.
No.
So I was like, this way I can just grab onto that stick and just haul, and it worked really well.
So explain it to me.
I just took the tether and I did the girth hitch on the deer's neck, wrapped it around the middle of the carbon stick,
Clipped on.
clipped on with my carabiner,
Oh.
and then, I mean, didn't want to twist. It was just perfect.
So you had a
Just
nice handle to
grab the
pull.
stick
Yeah.
and pull.
It's still a lot of work, but yeah, when you have a good grip on
No,
something, both hands.
made it so easy.
Yeah,
Just
my
like-
my
strong.
drag out was
Strong
super
legs.
easy.
It's always fun when the deer outweighs you by like 20 pounds.
They may be small,
man.
but they're mighty.
Craig, we're gonna get to your story next. We got a couple callers in here
That's
now.
fine. You get to it when you get to it.
What do we got here?
I'm in no hurry.
What do you think of that?
I don't know who this is. Doesn't show me on the caller ID.
Mr.
Hey, you're live on the podcast.
Hey, how's it going? This is Greg. I'm from Ohio. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Greg,
How you doing, Greg?
from Ohio.
Yeah, sir. Hold on here. I got pretty bad reception here. Let me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah,
bud.
we hear you.
Got a story? Oh, you still there? I think it's Dale. Dale from Ohio. Did we lose you? No, I think
Poof. Caller gone.
we'll see if he comes back on.
See if
And the
you
other
can-
caller dropped off, so
See
they
if you
don't
can
know where.
conjure him up.
He was just
Close your eyes, you'll hear him coming. He
Your
said his
phone-
name was Greg, not Dale.
Did he? Oh, it said Dale on the screening.
Yeah,
My
it
bad.
did not.
He said Greg and I read Dale. But it did read Dale.
Come
Maybe-
on, Dale.
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe
Maybe
it's Greg Dale, guy with two first names.
well, it's the same caller calling.
Sometimes it
again.
happens.
I think
It-
this
Adam
is-
Paul,
it-
my good buddy.
It happens.
Hey, you're live on the podcast. We're gonna try this
Dale?
again.
Hey, it's Dale.
Oh, hey,
You were right. It's Dale.
Dale, how you doing? Welcome to the show. You're live. What do you
Hey.
got, bud?
Hey, Bub. Oh no, I'm just sitting here in my truck. I'm just out here in the field. What are you guys up to today?
We're just drinking bourbon, talking about gun deer camp stories, man. You got a story?
Oh no, I'm about to create one though.
Uh-oh.
I'm out here just. I'm with my kid, and I'm teaching them how we hunt. I'm out here in Kentucky, just teaching them. It's a little dark out though, but we can still see them.
That sounds a little like those Warden videos I've been
Oh,
seeing
no.
going around.
Hey, Bub. Hey, hold the spotlight. A little lift.
Tell him to raise his
If I
arm
hear
up.
an
Tell him to
actual
raise his arm
gunshot.
up a little higher.
There we go. Had a boy. Hey, let me give you all a call back here in a bit. Oh, it's still live.
All right.
Okay, I'll talk to y'all later.
Hey, good luck, buddy.
That was classic, man.
These are well planned. God dang, those are great. Well
he
done,
making for the-
Greg.
was
I
he
mean,
just-
Dale.
Dale,
Was
whatever.
was he slapping like some boards together there?
Or he let a few rip out of the 20 gauge. Either
Oh,
way,
man.
it's all good.
Congrats to his son, man.
Yeah. You're teaching him to poach well.
Hey, Zach, you're live on the podcast. You better be poaching deer out there. Calling from Ohio State or
Dude,
Kentucky.
I can't top that last call. I'm just that was
So-
awesome.
Sorry it worked out that way, but you better have
Ohio.
a damn
I
good
mean,
story.
Kentucky. I mean, it's dark out.
Yeah, man can't follow that. That was pretty awesome.
That's pretty
I'm
awesome.
jealous I didn't think of it myself. So I was just gonna see, did your buddy have that cowboy candy? He
So-
was excited for it.
So by the way, I have yours, I think, but I'm not positive. But in the flurry of like the kids grabbing my pile of stuff that I was supposed to load up, and
Oh, is this the canned venison?
yeah. So I may or may not have yours still, but I certainly, if I didn't bring it. But Joel brought his, and he did what you said. So we did the cream cheese with the candied jalapenos on the cracker, and that shit was like crack cocaine.
Is it beautiful?
We all had fiery buttholes
told
next
you.
day, but it was great.
That's why the
Yeah,
stomach was
that's
grumbling.
what-
Oh, yeah, that's
guys
probably
were
right. I
ready.
forgot I even ate
Yeah,
those.
Between
was
that-
good.
Between that and the Malort and all the Bush Light.
Sounds like a recipe for fun.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't bust out the pepper jack Doritos until the next day.
You're gonna
Ooh.
need more than
Ooh.
2 slices of paper towel to wipe the rear of that.
Did you
thing.
get your complimentary roll of toilet paper?
I pooped at the Verbo both days in the morning.
Well, I would imagine
because
you
I was
did.
I was drinking Swamp Donkey coffee.
Just a little tip for all the folks out there: when you're bringing your roll of TP, you pull the paper cylinder out. You can fold it flat. That really saves some room in
Well,
the
our
old
camera,
pack.
our
Yes,
camera
it
guy
does.
Cam he's like, hey, I tried to bring some dude wipes, but I couldn't buy like one pack. I had to buy in bulk. So he's like, I got like 10 packs of dude wipes. No one needs to wipe their anything. So I was like, sweet man, dude wipes for the win.
This podcast just went to shit, literally.
You want to throw a few packs my way? That's okay.
It's all fine.
Oh no. I've been in the army for years, man. I've used dude wipes more than I've actually showered in a real house.
That's great. No, good stuff.
No,
So how's it
congrats
going?
on your deer, Eric. I just wanted to call and congrats you and waiting and Greg got a doe, pretty sure, right?
Yes, sir.
Atta boy, a
All
resident
right,
doe
man.
killer over here.
Derek, you're up, bud.
Yeah, I know. I tried sneaking out for about an hour and 15 minutes tonight, but to no avail. So I'll figure something out.
He's
That'll
on.
be
him.
all right.
He's dogging him out of there. He'll figure it out. I have faith.
Well, you guys have a good night. Enjoy listening to you. So I'll let y'all go and let somebody else call in. And
Yeah,
maybe next time I'll have a cool story like that last guy. I have to come up with something.
that was a fresh call.
Love
right
the
there.
imagination.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll talk to you soon. You have a good weekend.
Have a
Happy
good one, bud.
Thanksgiving.
We'll chat with you soon.
Got a caller from where is this? Manitowoc, Wisconsin. You're live on the show. What do you got for us?
Am I on?
You're live.
Okay. I got a buck story. I hunt Upper Michigan, and this is opening day of Michigan season. And I have a habit of driving around in the morning and documenting where all the hunters are, where all the trucks are and the campers. This is public land. And then I document the tracks going across the sandy roads of deer, and then I choose a spot to hunt. And I found a spot that I knew that I've scouted in the past. And I thought, well, it's a little early, so I'm going to do some scouting first. And I scouted some ridges. I got back about a mile from the road, or a mile of walking from the road. I decided to come back, and I'm going to go and hunt those tracks. So I get back to the car, and I'm thinking, I got a mobile tree stand. Should I put the stand on, or should I go walk those tracks and try to find a spot? So I'm not even 50 feet from the car, and there's a little curve in the road, and I'm looking down at the tracks on the road, and I got a baseball cap on, right? Orange one. And I can't see what's in the road. I'm looking at the tracks, and all of a sudden I get this feeling. I look up, here's an 8-point buck looking at me 20 yards away, standing in the middle of the road. And I'm not a grouse hunter, so I get my gun up and all that. I mean, it was like, I was startled. I couldn't believe it. So by the time I finally think, I got to shoot this deer, he's running, and he's around the corner. It gets better. So now, I take videos with my camera and stuff, so I'm gonna walk over there and take a video of his tracks. So I walk over there and I'm looking, doing the same thing, looking down on the ground. And I get that feeling again. I look up the hill because here it curves and goes uphill. There he is standing there looking at me.
I think he liked
Get
you.
the gun up. And off he ran.
That's fun. That's good.
You were curious.
No, I was okay. It was experience.
Yeah, you were curious
Don't wear a
about him and
baseball
his
cap
tracks,
when
and he
you're
was.
still hunting.
Yeah.
That's great.
He was just as curious about you as you were about him.
I think so. And then there's a little bit more to this. Not as interesting, but all those tracks that were across the road. So I go back, get my stand as well. I might as well set up here close. Maybe I'll come circle back around or whatever. By the time I'm getting my stuff together, here a truck comes driving. There was no fresh vehicle tracks anywhere. And by this time, it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock. And this guy comes roaring past me. And he stops the truck where I can see it. And he gets out and he starts slamming his door and everything, And so I walk over there by him, and he starts walking towards me, and we talk. Oh, I gotta stand right in here. He says, I've been baiting, and I'm gonna get a deer down there today. So what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
So I said, well, I just chased an 8-point buck that way. I says, and he says, oh, that's my 8-pointer. I've been seeing him. That's okay. And
He's been
I
seeing
get
me.
set up, and it wasn't even 15 minutes in the stand. I hear a shot from over there, and I don't know, half an hour later, here he comes roaring back on the trail. So he must have shot something.
Wow.
He wouldn't tell me though.
That's fun. Fun. Are you getting back out anymore over the next couple of
Oh,
days? Or yeah, good.
Good deal.
I'm gonna hunt even muzzleloader,
Cool.
even late season archery. I'm gonna go as
Yeah.
much as I can.
Very
I'm
cool.
getting old. I got to get out there now.
What area in the UP are you hunting?
Escanaba River State Forest. I got a camp in Menominee County.
Very
Cool.
cool. Done some hunting in Menominee County
actually-
myself.
That's
If I get all the glites green and Marinette Menominee, I can beat her in an hour and 45 minutes.
nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
And I
Yeah.
think your name
Yeah.
is it Rick?
Yep.
Thanks for the call, Rick.
You're hunting a Rick the Peasant.
Oh, it's
Ah,
right there it is.
Hey,
Hey,
Rick,
congrats to your wife.
I saw your comment. So yeah, congrats to your wife. But also, I didn't put on the screen. So there too many came by, and I forgot here. But you said make sure you clear a spot of all the leaves when you're pissing out of the tree so it's not as loud. And I think that's a pretty good tip because
Yes.
it can get pretty loud when that starts flowing.
Am I weird that I always
Yeah,
look
very
for
good.
the quietest place, like
No,
down
you
the edge
should.
of a
That's-
tree
yeah.
or like onto a pine
better off
bough? I'm
peeing-
always like, ooh,
like,
look what's
seriously, pee
planting
down-
it.
All I'm thinking is like,
Pee right down the tree.
I
Yeah.
know I'm going to somehow get pissed on myself when I'm coming down if I don't do this right. But no, it's cool.
Well, good luck with the rest
Very
of your
good.
season, Rick.
Yeah, Rick, thanks for calling
Thank you.
in.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks.
Likewise.
You're welcome.
All right.
Our Ohio caller is back on. I do
Can-
have their
can-
name and their phone number saved and documented now.
Kentucky Dale.
Yeah,
in
but I'm going
Ohio.
to skip past it because we have a known caller in after them. So if the prankster wants to hang out for a while, we'll entertain it after this. But we got Zach Hoheisel on the line live on the podcast. Zach, how you been, buddy?
Doing good. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since we've heard from you on here, but you're out of Wisconsin. How's it been going, bud?
Good. Opening day was successful to say the least.
Awesome.
Tell the listeners about it, man. Tell us what we got.
Yeah. Well, I've had a super crazy year just with Eric knows this, but my job pretty much is to film hunts for a living. So I get to hunt, more than anyone I know, which is awesome. But unfortunately, that's more in the waterfowl and the upland world. So my deer hunting time is extremely limited. And during bow season, on my first and only bow archery sit, I killed a pretty nice 10-pointer.
Hell yeah.
And I didn't get to go hunting in between at all. So I was really looking forward to opening day of deer season because that's been on the calendar since, last opener. And once again, I was lucky enough opening day. It was kind of a cluster how it went down right at first light. Two doe came up behind me. They worked their way behind my stand and then they sat out in front of the field in front of me for a while. And that was right at first light. So I never got to film a opening interview, and I was reaching forward to spin my camera around to film opening interview. And I heard something, and standing 10 yards behind me was a decent 10-pointer. I looked out of the corner of my eye, and I knew he had me dead to rights of my stand. So I couldn't turn to look at him. We had a giant 10-pointer on trail camera, and out of the corner of my eye, I thought it was him. And as I went to grab my gun, he started running away, and I had like a split second where I stopped him to make a decision whether, am I going to shoot or not? And I took the shot and he dropped, and I had a nice 10-pointer down by, it wasn't the one that I thought it was, but it was still a great, respectable deer. Had him down by, I think he was gutted and hanging on the buck pole by 8 o'clock.
Nice.
Wow, what a morning. Good for you, man.
Yes. It was great. So in 2 sets, I was able to accomplish what I needed to as far as venison and
Good for
and buck
you,
kills
man.
for the
That's
year.
a
Total
good season.
efficiency, making
Yeah.
the most of your time. Something I have not done
It's
this
gonna be
year.
hard to top that next year, man. Congrats.
Yeah, it's been a great year. I haven't got to
When you got a
bow hunt
beautiful,
all that much, or
I was gonna say you got a super picturesque deer camp cabin too. Like I see your photos, and that's what I picture the quintessence of deer camp. Derek's too. Like it just looks
Mhm.
cozy AF up there. Like I was talking about drinking this bourbon
Oh,
by a
yeah.
fire in a cabin. Like I feel like I need to come and hang out with you up there one of these days and just kick you out and kick my feet
it's-
back.
it's my favorite place in the world. And that's what this year I was really excited to hunt because we had some really nice bucks on camera and all that. And don't get me wrong, like I love deer hunting, whether it's with a gun or a bow, but normally what gun season is for me is just going up to that place and hanging out with the crew. And it's a cozy little cabin, and it's beautiful. It is pretty rustic. We have our electricity is generator powered, and we got propane lights. We don't have any running water, so we have gravity fed jugs and stuff, but it works for us, and it's heated by the fireplace and super cozy, super comfortable, and we all have a great time up there.
Yeah,
Sounds awesome.
Sweet.
with thermostat in there, just another log on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, man.
Yep.
Well, cool. Congrats, bud. And thanks for the call. We got a few more that piled in here. So I don't people are excited to talk about gun deer camp, apparently, which is great. Love to hear about it.
Yes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Congrats on a great season,
Congrats, man.
Thank you.
So our prankster dropped off, but I'm a little nervous because we have another Ohio number. This is a different name. So, but the name on the caller ID is different than the auto screen. I'm a little.
Well,
You're live on the podcast. Who do we got?
Hey man, this is Mr. Johnson. How's it going, y'all?
Good. What do you call in? What do you got, a story to share? Or first time caller?
Yeah, I just can't get me nothing killed, but I've been taking out some youth hunters and we've been having some good luck. But I saw the darndest thing the other day. We were out here. I got one killed and it was about 140, and I put a 12-year-old on him. Came out at about 15 yards. I mean, that was just a spectacular hunt. But then the next day we took another kid out to a different farm, and there's one target buck that I was trying to put him on. He never killed nothing before. I didn't want to give him anything too big, but I'll tell you what. Am I allowed to cuss here on the show?
You can cuss. Yeah.
let her rip.
Well, I saw the darndest thing. This freaking raccoon hopped out, and he just mounted this possum, and I mean, just started absolutely wearing its ass out, man. I just never seen it was the darndest thing I ever saw in my whole entire life. Dang boy, he's asking what's going on. I'm telling him they're wrestling and all. I mean, that raccoon
What
gets
do you
to
think?
going.
What would you call their baby?
I can almost swear I heard that possum sitting there moaning, and I just couldn't make nothing of it. Darndest thing I ever saw in my life.
Did you tell that kid's parents?
No, I didn't, to be honest with you. I told him we saw some Nat Geo type stuff, but I just left it at that. Told him it got a little
Things
PG-13
got
out
Western.
there. But what would you do? Have you ever seen anything like that?
I'd figure what I'd name the baby.
Yeah,
What's that now?
What would you name the baby?
Rack possum? I don't know.
No,
That's
I don't know, but I saw me a beef coon one time. Half beaver, half raccoon.
that's why you don't turn the
Split
lights on,
tail
buddy.
bone, but I'll tell you what, it had rings all the way around it. I mean, it was swimming in the water, but it also could climb trees. It's the darndest thing I ever saw.
And slap a tail. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. What's the wildest thing y'all ever seen deer
I don't
hunting?
know. What's the wildest thing I've seen deer hunt? I'm trying to think. I had a coyote like run across my legs once, just about, and then I was sitting on the ground. I was like, "Whoa, you're not a deer." He's like, "You're not
That was
supposed to
pretty
be
stinking
here."
cool.
I saw a naked guy in a jacuzzi once from my tree stand.
What?
Yeah, I was hunting at a buddy's place.
Did he have a lot of back hair?
Oh, yeah.
Because then that's
He was
pretty
an older
wild.
guy. No, they put me down in this bottom stand, and they're like, just watch out. 8:10. There's usually some good action down there. And I'm hunting down there, and all of a sudden I hear a door crack open about 8 o'clock. And there's a house up on the hill, real nice house, patio. And a guy comes out in a bathrobe, and he's looking around. I'm like, oh, God, I hope he doesn't mess this up. The action's supposed to start at 8:10. Pretty quick, that bathrobe hit the deck, and old Johnny was letting her fly on the deck and stretching out, and he got it in that hot tub. And I was like, you sons of bitches. They were like, did you see him? And I was like, I sure did.
The time my cousin played a prank on me in Florida, that was not
man.
fun.
That's awesome.
What about you, Greg?
I got nothing that compares to any of that.
Oh, geez.
No, man.
All right, Johnson. Thanks for the call, man.
Hey, man, y'all have a good evening.
Keep
You
doing
too.
it.
Good season.
All
Take care,
right.
y'all.
Yeah,
Take
see
care.
ya.
Pretty sure his real name's Devin.
Don't care. It was awesome.
But we'll take it.
Both of those
He's
calls
really
were
working
great.
hard for the youth hunters of
I
America.
thought he was telling me he was killing the youth. I was like, whoa.
Put him on a
I'm
140.
hunting these youth. I was like, hunting with them or hunting them? Okay. Is there? I think that's. It's hard to know what's happening on my screen here, guys. Like I'm struggling. Me and my buddy went to Key West. This is not a hunting story.
I was going to
It's
say,
a
I didn't
prank
know
story.
that there was deer there.
My cousin's driving us around in her car. This is that. Here's this. This is the Duval Street. Best food, best drinks, smallest bar, all that stuff, right? Got to go here. Got to do that. Got to go to this bar. That's where all the girls go. There's like a Thursday night special on drinks. Go there. If that's what you're trying to do down here. Should be a fun time.
Sloppy Joe's.
There's like,
That's where he was headed.
there's like, nude bars on the rooftops and shit. Don't recommend it because it's not what you'd think. It's usually an old guy in his robe taking his pants off. And you're like,
to
"All
jump
right
in the
then."
jacuzzi
Been
at
there,
8:10.
done that.
So we go to this bar.
8:10
that my-
a.m. and 8:10 p.m.
My
There's
buddy-
2 showings a day.
Oh
Then
god.
it's bedtime shortly after.
Yes.
My cousin's like, go to this bar. So Mike and I are like, cool, we're gonna go to that bar. We're gonna definitely go to that bar because she said it was a good one. She would know. She's from here. She didn't steer us wrong. I wouldn't think of this cousin playing a prank on us.
Everybody's a little gay down there.
We go to the bar. We order the drinks. We go beeline right to the bar. Get the drinks. Pour the drinks. We got the drinks. We're good to go.
What are they called? Banana
We
hammocks?
turn around and we're starting to like survey the area.
We
My
have two
buddy,
banana hammocks,
my
please.
buddy Mike's like, dude, got an Adam's apple. And I was like, what the fuck's going on in here, man? That's a huge bitch. It was a drag bar.
Oh yeah.
Just a bunch of dudes dressed as women. And I was like, well, good thing that you can have open intoxicants on the street. Let's take this drink to go out of here. Like it was.
So they weren't cute enough
So
for you?
I
or
No,
what?
apparently
I
not.
called my cousin. I'm like, what's with that freaking bar? She's like, I got you good. I whatever she said. I was like,
Yeah.
what the hell?
Got you good.
Good
you
on
fucker.
her. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's
Shit.
awesome.
Never forget that. And we'll literally never forget that. Dave Norowski, Derek, congrats on the buck. Greg, congrats on the doe. Derek, congrats on to your dad on his buck. David Norokowski, who's like the man.
Thanks, David.
Yes, David.
Great guy.
Yep.
Great guy.
Good stuff. How do you call in Chris Mickle? I'll put the number on the screen. These pranksters are giving us a run for our money tonight. Where do I put the number on the screen? Here it is. Put
Dude,
the
they're entertaining.
Well, yeah, these ones are contextually safe. There's some that get out of hand real quick, and you just never know. Like Rick
Gamble.
called in, I was like, "Is Rick a prankster?" I don't know yet. I can't tell.
Well, I mean, the first call, then you're
Kinda-
always like,
you know,
"Dude,
I'm
what do we
nervous
got
about
going
all of
on
them.
here?
A little gun shy today.
What's
Yeah.
about
I'm
to
like just
happen?"
hovering over the drop call button, like, "Come on, don't do it, don't do it."
Oh,
Oh,
goodness.
holy crap, holy Derek or Jesus, Greg, your story. Let's hear it.
Well, I shot a doe. The end.
No, that's what you think.
One hell of a storyteller. that Greg
yeah,
Jones.
Mr.
there,
the most
tell you
colorful
what,
storyteller in
quickest
all
He
story.
is
I
a
mean,
great
land.
storyteller.
And he's like, "Man, shot it down,
being all bashful.
yeah. And meanwhile, we're getting text updates.
Just throwing.
they're in the cattails 500 yards. I can see them moving, but and then like 4 minutes later, another
They're
update.
playing Marco Polo in the cattails.
Cat and mouse,
Totally were.
cat and mouse game.
Jimmy Tommy came out, but Jimmy Johnny stayed back in the marsh. Come on. Unload the story, Chief.
I'm on my tippy toes. No, I'm not.
Opening morning was like, got out there just as got up the tree and light was coming up or sun was coming up, and I could see deer out in that pick cornfield.
This is what I wanted. The sun is coming
Are you
up.
right
Pick-
on the pick,
pick-
like on the
pick
edge of it? or are you
I'm
in a little bit?
I'm in a little bit, so I'm probably about 30 yards from the edge of the
But you can
cat.
see
or the-
most of it.
Yeah, I'm in the cattails,
Okay.
but I can see most because I got one big willow tree that I can get up and see over the top of that stuff. And deer were out there. One was chasing a couple around, so I assumed it had to be a buck. And it's coming closer, and I'm looking at my watch, and it's 4 minutes to opening, and it's still coming this way. It's 2 minutes to opening, and he stopped in the middle, and he's looking around. It's 1 minute to opening, and now he's moving again. I'll pull the scope up. It doesn't look very big, and looked, and sure enough, it wasn't. It was a little basket rack 6 or 8 pointer. I'm not sure. I'm not going to shoot him. He went into the neighbors, and nobody shot at him, so that's good. And
Yeah,
then
you have a good idea of the deer in that area. So like,
yeah, because I
kinda-
run
yeah.
a couple cameras and I know who's in there. And there were a couple of nice deer, and then they just disappeared. There's a pretty good pack of coyotes in the area too, and they did a number. They got 6 or more deer off the neighbor's side, and
No shit.
I found one in the cattails when I was wandering around that the coyotes got. So they've been hitting that herd pretty hard, which is fine because there was a lot of them there last year. There were
A lot of
between
deer.
there were between 40 and 50 a deer that hit that field every night. Hence the reason I got the permission. So they wanted me back again, and I hunted. And
Well, you did damn good work last year.
Yeah.
You laid down 3 does opening morning.
yeah, certainly. So I had high hopes to see a lot of deer, and I didn't see the numbers, but there was still some deer there. That buck moved off, and I could hear deer moving through the cattails behind me, and I could hear grunting and chasing and crashing around. But from a tree stand point of view, it doesn't look like it's very tall. You get down on ground level, I'm 6 foot tall, and I'm looking at it. That stuff's 3 foot taller than me. And all you can see is like you can hear him grunt, and you can hear him pinballing around, and all of a sudden you see stuff moving, but it's like moving and it's gone,
Yeah.
And they just kept on moving. And there's trails that crisscross all over in there. And I was set up on one of the heaviest trails off the edge of that willow tree, and there were a few little rubs along the way on any trees that could be rubbed. They were. But this doe was on a kamikaze mission, came right down the edge.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna go walk over by
What's
this
that
tree.
big orange blob
What's
up
that
there?
up there? I gotta go check that out. and came and she looked my direction twice and just put her head down and kept walking. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, if you
get chased by this buck or go past this hunter.
if you
That
He's missed me
stop,
twice with his bow so far this year.
That was a sinister laugh.
if you stop in that little opening right there, I might. Yep, you did it. Sorry. Yeah,
Safety on.
yeah. Right through the neck and
Well,
down.
did you shoot the nozzle rounds?
Yeah, I
Were
shot.
you BZO'd in with the nozzlers?
Yeah, I
So
I
you-
zeroed in at 200 because I have the ability to shoot 200 plus out at that place.
Oh, you sighted in out there.
I sighted in at Milford,
Okay.
which is only 100 yards, but I put
But
it.
you sighted in after you got the rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had
Yeah.
time on your side that
I
I
had
not.
I had about 1 hour of time, and I made the use of
Good
it.
job.
Yeah. So I ran out there, shot him, got him dialed into about 1.5 inches high at 100 dead center. Good enough. That'll get me to 200. There's a ballistics chart on the box. You just use it.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
Every ammo puts it on there.
Yep.
Nozzler does a great job of putting the information right on there
Mhm.
amongst a few other ammo companies. So, and they're just factory rounds, using a partition bullet. Partition bullet's an old bullet that's been around for a long time. Great for heavy skinned animals, so elk.
Yeah, you're shooting
moose,
185 grains?
180 grains out of that 300.
180.
Yeah. Out of a 300 Win Mag.
So
So-
9 yards in the neck. She didn't stand a whole lot of chance.
No.
Got you in the
No.
neck.
Yeah. Pretty much it was, I heard 2 kicks and it was all over. It was done.
Good. That's good.
Nice. Easy drag.
Yeah, 40 yards out of the cattails, and then up over a dike and across a creek and into a field
To Grandma's house we go.
to Grandma's house
Jesus.
to the Silverado
Over
we
a dike and
go.
up the hill. To the cattails and Grandma's house we go.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Bourbon's bringing my accent out.
So,
Don't you know?
but and then Sunday, the deer were playing cat and mouse in the cattail as I was explaining in our group text, and the mice were winning. And none of them came through within distance of me shooting them. I saw 3 of them way out there. It's probably a 400-yard poke, and I'm not gonna poke and hope with a rifle across that.
That's pretty fun.
Because if you dump one in the cattails,
That's
it's
a nightmare.
it's a nightmare. You're never finding it.
With it's not frozen too. And then
Yeah.
you think about how do you find that spot 400 yards away?
You're
That's
not.
A
tough.
sea of cattails.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to pick a waypoint. You got to be hoping that there's some trees
still
out there, and in
very
the trees, you walk 3 feet one way or 4 feet the next. You're never going to find that waypoint again. It's very difficult. So it's one of those things you got to use your head a little bit and show some self control, and not shoot. You just
We gotta
take your hand off the foregrip and scratch that finger. Take it off the gun and
That's
scratch the
itchy trigger
finger.
finger.
Yep.
Scratch it through the pocket.
Yeah.
I got real trigger happy for a second there. I was like, I'm just like loving the racking of the 30-06 bolt action. You want to tell me that there's not a better feeling? And I like shooting my bow, don't get me wrong, but you want to freaking blast around if at a deer, rack around have another deer in your sights. Holy shit. All right. Jake, you're live on the podcast. Where are you calling from? What do you got?
Hey boys, how's it going? I'm from Greenleaf, Wisconsin. Derek knows me. He fixed my 12 pointer last year.
Ooh.
Hey, I saw you got another one this year, didn't you?
Yeah, and fortunately, I don't need you to fix it.
Hey,
That's,
hey, congrats, buddy.
That's a positive thing. But yeah, we had a pretty good opening weekend. The wife shot one opening day. Turned out a 6-pointer. She thought it was an 8-pointer, but didn't have any browse. Took the kid out in the afternoon on opening day. Didn't see a damn thing. And I think it was opening night. We had a wind change from that south wind to that north wind. So I went over to a different piece that we have. Just basically a big old dead swamp. This year it's actually pretty dry in there. It's like the first year that I could walk through the whole thing with knee highs without getting wet. And I actually got a picture back in October of that buck that I killed. It was the only buck that I had on camera this year that I, really considered shooting. And is the only picture I got. It was I think October 28th, and then I went in there November 13th with the bow. Ended up spotting him with a doe. He was locked down on her. He was getting pestered by like 5 little basket racks, and he was unfortunately on the neighbors, so I couldn't pull a derrick and put the stock on him.
You didn't want to put your socks on and
Not onto the neighbors. Neighbors don't let you come on there
Yeah.
with only socks.
Yeah.
kids watch me get my hot
So
tub
there
every
was nothing
day.
I could do. He wasn't coming off that doe. She actually ended up getting up and taking him even further away from me. Then I had to work the next couple days. I was off opening weekend and went in there Sunday morning, back in the same stand that I actually just hung that stand a couple days before I went in there with the bow. And yeah, I think it was maybe 7:30 or so. I just caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of my eye, and there he was standing there looking at me. Well, I shouldn't, maybe not at me, but in my direction, about 100 yards away. Still on the neighbors, but fortunately he was only like about 5 yards on the neighbors, and he actually came on our side and gave me a little window and dropped him in his tracks.
Heck
Sweet.
yeah.
Oh, rock on.
Was he by himself that morning?
Yeah, all by himself. I don't know what made him stand up. There was a little fork that came through, so I don't know if that got him curious of something. But I'm assuming he was bedded right where I spotted him, because I would have heard him. It was dead calm that morning. But yeah, he was all by himself, and I don't know if you can show him the pictures, Derek, but that right side is kind of messed up, and when we caped him out, we actually found that his back leg was broken at one point.
Oh, really?
It must have healed back, and it healed kind of goofy. So I don't know if that's what caused the weird right side. But when I seen him walking, he looked like a little hitch in his step. So I don't know if he was just one of those bucks that stayed in that core area because he was injured or whatnot, because I've never seen the buck before until this year.
Wow.
And the chances of seeing him in October and then him staying in there until gun season is kind of slim in my area. So I think he just didn't want to go too far.
Yeah, if you have some more pictures of that, you want to shoot me a message like on Messenger or something and send some over? I'd love to take a closer look at that. And then I do have one question for you. You mentioned that like real dry conditions in the swamp on your property. Just curious,
Yeah.
How did that affect like bucks? You know what I mean? Like some years, some spots are real good when it's wet. Some spots are better when it's dry. Like what did that do for your property? Was it better because it was dry, or
Well,
are you saying like that was the only buck? It was worse.
Well, so I would say there's 4 different parcels in this woods, 4 different owners. We own the 17 acres that butt up to the road. And actually on the other side of the road is how would you call it? Like a clay pigeon place. They do like pheasant hunts and
Okay.
stuff like that. It's like 400 acres and nobody deer hunts on it. They're not allowed.
That's a
So
hunt club.
it's kind of like a sanctuary, but unless there's something completely on the east side of the parcel that we have, is food wise, it kind of varies year by year whether or not you're going to get good deer movement through there. But the 17 acres that we own is the wettest part of the woods. I used to have permission on the middle 21 acres, but we lost that this year. And that part has like a little knob in it that's, maybe a couple feet of elevation change where it's dry, and they definitely bed on there, at least the does do. But I would say that I definitely noticed more bucks bedding on little high points in the swamp this year just because of how dry it was.
Gotcha. I was just curious.
That's kind of nice to have the wetter part of the property, because I feel like that's probably where they're going to spend most of their time.
Yeah.
Gives you a leg up if you can get them coming out of there.
It is nice.
harder to
It's
hunt.
tough when it comes to hanging a tree stand. I actually, the first time I hung the stand, I hung it on the field edge, just making a rookie mistake because I had this, nice fresh scrape line out on the field edge, but it was November. I should have known better. Like, they're not going to hit that during daylight in November. You should be in the middle of the timber. So I actually ended up moving it further into the timber, but all the trees are dead. And, I was talking to Casey, Derek, you know him, and I was like, how do you pick a tree to hang in when they're dead, And he's like, well, if the wind hasn't blown them over, I don't think it's going to tip over from you sitting in it.
I feel like I hang in more dead trees than live ones.
I was hanging in a rotting tree tonight.
You're not supposed to put your kid in the car seat with their coat on because like the coat doesn't hold them tightly and they could fling out of it. Like I'm wrapping my tether onto this bark. I'm like, this doesn't seem safe. Because it's not on the tree, it's like loose. I'm like, this could fall out.
My climbing sticks were ripping bark off tonight as I went up. You guys both said, you're like, that's rotten, Derek. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, that tree was dead AF is what I think I responded with. It looks sketchy as shit. I was actually going to use that for a Black Friday deal. Like, our deals aren't as sketchy as this tree is. Climb on in.
Well, hey, man, congrats on another beautiful buck, dude. That's a good streak you got.
Yeah, congrats. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah. Talk to you later, man.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
I figure I probably should mention, by the way, we do have Black Friday, Cyber Monday, BFCM, as it's called in the D2C world, going live tomorrow morning on our website. Greg's over here checking freaking cell cam videos like he can't
That's
even
not
help
a cell
himself.
cam video. That's a soaker cam that I pulled.
A what? A soaker? Oh, he pulled it. I assume because you're checking it here. Maybe it's a cell cam sending you a notification. But anyway.
You know who that is.
This is the other one.
You can't do this to people watching the show right now. They're going to want to see it.
No.
You can't show them. But I'm just saying.
All they need to know is there's a buck that they can't know about.
This is the buck. You like this buck? Ooh.
He doesn't not like this buck.
If you don't like that buck, you don't have a pulse.
Look at him. He's saying yes, Greg. Yes. Yes.
Oh, he's got me.
all weird. Yes.
Are you going to shop the OKS Hunter Black Friday sale?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bucky the Bull over here says yes.
I'm gonna turn that into a GIF. When the buck wants you to shoot him. Mm-hmm.
He's going to make that thing so popular, you're never going to see it.
He's done a pretty good job of making himself a ghost all year. So
he really has. Is that the last? That's the most recent?
Yeah.
Because it was a pretty good span.
You got to get the spotlight out, Greg.
And this
Call Dale.
Called Dale and his 12-year-old youth hunter.
Dale will make quick work of that.
Spotlight and the 20 gauge.
Dead trees are
mostly ash. Yeah, they are. You get a few poplar trees too that die. That questionable.
Yeah, I was hunting. What day was when a storm? I was texting you guys when the storm was coming through. I could hear the lightning in the distance of the thunder, and I was like,
"Oh yeah,
bow season. Tree could blow over, or like, am I gonna be in a tree when lightning is striking? Like that could be a problem.
Seems bad."
I was like, I'm not getting down.
Lightning.
I was like, I'm not getting down. Light's not coming here.
You would have really liked my setup on opening day of gun season. I went in and I knew that spot I wanted to hunt. So the whole clear cut is up on the high ground. It's all the hardwood cut. So it's pretty steep hill down to the lower areas. Well, I wanted to see that lower area where I took the video because there's a bunch of buck sign coming through the lower area up there. I wanted to see that, but I also wanted to be able to see the clear cut. So I brought five sticks with aiders.
So you brought
and
the three.
platform.
You brought the 3 latitudes with the 2 Lone Wolf Custom Gear double wides, both with aiders on them.
Yep.
All 3 latitudes have the rope aiders.
Have aiders. I put the first one well above my head, so the bottom of the rung was about my head height. And then I put the platform another 17 inches above my top. I was way up, but I was like eye level with the
crest.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there was branches. There was a whole bunch of trees.
It wasn't going to come out of the high end, so like you weren't going to get busted up there.
No, he came out of the low stuff, and the tricky part was like the low stuff's where all the rubs were, right?
Yeah,
they're coming out of there. There's 3 pine trees, 3 evergreens, spruces, whatever, like 20 yards from me. He came from the other side of there, the spike buck, so I can hear him coming, and I'm like, he's coming right to the scrape. You know what I mean? It's one deer. I can tell by how he's walking. It's a buck because it's like multiple steps. He goes walk a little step, walk a little step. I'm like, so like my heart's beating out of my chest. I'm like,
and then he pops
safety
up.
off. I'm like, It's a freaking doe. That's a spike, damn it. It's a spike.
Got you good.
It comes right under me. It's sniffing my little aiders on the tree, rubbing his little head on there.
Uh-huh.
Comes up. He's like eye level with me. I was like, should I spit on his back?
I spit on you. Oh, come
What
to
a-
my
What a
family
cutie.
on this day of my first deer hunt. And this is the news you bring me? Yeah. Shoot you for that. Anyway.
My name is Indigo Montoya. Boom! Thought you were safe?
Not so much.
Not around me, it wouldn't have been.
That deer I could have thrown over my shoulders,
Oh, yeah,
probably.
yeah. Greg could have been catching some deers this season, riding their backs, bucking them.
Yeah, I
You
had
got
a few.
T-shirt.
I had a
Some
few.
close encounters.
Oh yeah, I did.
So okay, I do want to say the deals. We got. we
Yeah,
got-
say the deal.
There's not. It's not like we're not like a real company. You know, we're just trying to figure some stuff out.
We're also not a pretend company.
No. we're half-assing it most of the time. When we can
Where's-
finally
where's
whole
mine?
ass it, then we'll let you know.
Why can't I see the deal? Can you go to the site on your phone, okshunter.com?
Let's
Does it show
take a
you the
look at
deal?
it.
It'll say right at the top of the screen, but I'm not seeing it on the computer. I want to make sure I get it right. It's my own website. I don't know what it says.
Oh, hey, fun story for you with your kids. I don't know if they'll want to do this if you bring them out, but I shot that doe with the bow a couple days before gun season.
Mhm.
Gus, Dad, did you find it already? I'm like, well, I did, but you got to come help me get it out. He's like, cool. Did you take the heart out? I was like, no. He's
shit.
like, when you gut it, can I look at the heart? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm very interested in a deer heart. And I was like, okay. So then he wanted it. I had like rubber, like the plastic gloves in my back. He's like, can I hold it? And I was like, this is borderline weird, but sure. I was like, I remember being a kid,
I
like
don't know how to
poking the guts
condone
and
this,
wanting to
yeah.
know this. But he's like, this is so cool.
That's how Dane would be, and I'd be a little worried about it. Like, am I raising a murderer, or what's happening here?
Just curious.
Could be a future heart surgeon. You never know.
Yeah, maybe.
He was like, oh, that's
Maybe
the
anatomy is really fun for him.
Look, it's the aorta.
It's the left aorta, anterior aorta.
Get 20% off site wide.
I love that he has to read it upside because he doesn't know. It's your damn site.
Yeah. I'm blacked out half the day. I don't know what's going on. I have so much shit going on. I don't remember anything.
You got to talk to Tyler.
And get a $25 gift card for free when you spend $100 or more from November 23rd to the 29th. So if you want to selfishly buy yourself something, and if you can get to the $100 threshold, you can gift somebody else the $25, the gift card. And we have coffee now, which the Swamp Donkey stuff really did get things moving, which is what we guarantee it'll do. And I'm not talking about the deer in the woods.
Not talking about the swamp donkeys.
That saved my ass, actually. You want to save your hunt? Poop before you go to the woods. Drink Swamp Donkey. Is that a good ad right there? Did I just do it?
that's actually true because I didn't poop before I went to the woods Sunday,
That's the problem.
and I regret it.
I immediately regret this decision of not drinking the thickest coffee I could find. All right, we got one more call, and then we got to get the hell out of here. We got Nick. You're live on the podcast. What do you got for us, bud?
What's up, boys?
How we
What's
doing?
going on? Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. I'm at a bar in Townsend, Wisconsin.
Townsend.
What's the bar? What's the
Hey!
bar? What is it?
Where you at? Olive Pit? Old Town Hall?
Little Tipsy.
Little
Tipsy.
Tipsy.
Right next to Old Town Hall.
Yeah, right on 32. Nice, man. You guys have any luck up
Yep,
there?
yep. Got a big doe on Monday. Big doe on Monday.
Congrats,
A
dude.
big
Good
one,
for
a
you.
big eater dough. There you go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I was looking for some meat, so
Perfect.
I'll
At the
I'll have to
bar or
send
in
you
the
guys
woods?
The picture of the blood trail.
I'm just messing around. You got a good blood trail on her. Sorry, I'm interrupting the story to make terrible jokes.
Yeah, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Yeah, the blood trail was unreal, man. I've never seen a blood trail like that. I blew open the sternum more or less, and she just bled out for 30, 40 yards.
What were you shooting?
And 270 bolt action, Remington.
Bolt
Nice.
action, man. Sexy.
It's the bolt action.
It gets me fired up.
Hell yeah.
Did you guys have any luck? I missed the beginning of your show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Greg
we
got a
did.
doe. I got a basket 8, and my dad got a doe, and one of the other guys in our group got 2 doe. So
Nice.
my buddy
pretty
Clay passed up some doe, and then regretted that hardcore later in the day, and drank himself to a stupor. And it was pretty good. Yeah, we had some luck.
Yeah, my dad got a what would have been an 8-pointer, had a busted tying up in Townsend, right by you.
All right. Nice.
Hell yeah.
Well, good. Glad we had some luck this year, boys.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Order a beer for us, man. Cheers. Thanks for calling in.
Absolutely, guys.
Play some bar dice. Get the shake of the day going. I'll give you $1.
Full
Yeah,
tabs.
I just won some money in Carter at the casino, before we came here.
Oh,
so.
there you go.
Hey,
There you go.
now you got to get in the woods
It's
tomorrow.
a good
too.
week. It's a good week. It's a good week.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have to stop. And are you up all week?
We're leaving tomorrow. I live
Okay.
in like Hubertus.
Thanksgiving.
Heading
Yeah.
home tomorrow.
Gotcha. I was gonna say you gotta stop in at the the Sunset Bar and Grill on the reservoir.
Yep.
Yep,
We stay at Wentz.
Yep.
Wentz Sandbar.
Yep.
That's where we've been staying the last like 6 years.
The
So
Sandbar, very nice. Yeah, if you stop in the Sunset later tonight, if you see a gentleman named Mikey, he shot a big, beautiful buck on the Nicolay National Forest up there in Townsend. Tell him congrats.
yeah, that's where I'm hunting.
That's where I used to hunt when I was
Go
young.
get him, buddy. Go
Yeah.
get him in the morning. Don't have too many beers.
Yeah, I know, right? All right, boys. I just wanted to call and say hey, and
Thanks.
I'm happy you guys had some success this year as well.
Yes.
Congrats on the dough.
Congrats
See
on
you,
the
man.
dough.
Thank you.
All right, boys. We'll talk to you later.
Yep. Have
See
a good
ya.
one.
So we stop at this little diner on the way out, Prairie Duchesne every year, called Fredericks in Fenimore. Did you stop there with the
Well, yeah. That's where we saw the major hoarder card from hell. Like,
Oh no.
Oh,
Not one of those.
oh,
It's full of wrappers and books and
Books,
Was,
yeah.
was it in Fenimore?
it was in Fenimore.
Yeah.
Remember? Because that thing, we're like, how is that thing still on tires?
Like you see through the window.
Yeah, like you couldn't see through any of the windows. There was so much crap in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
they
anyway.
got a good.
But yeah, the breakfast
home
was good.
style breakfast.
Mhm.
Nothing right home about, but definitely worth the stop
It's a
on the way
spot.
out. Yeah, you're out of
Beats,
the woods, you're hungry.
Eating Little Debbie's in the morning.
Yeah, it's nice to get a good plate of bacon and hash browns all crispied up real nice with some eggs. So everyone's got their spots, it sounds like. And that's all part of it too, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I had some moments up in deer camp this year in the woods. It hit me pretty good. I felt so much so that I felt compelled to write an article. So I put that on paper. I don't think I got it all on paper, but I tried my best. And essentially, Clayton he wants to bring his boy with him next year, one of his boys.
Cool.
He's got 2 boys and a daughter. Old 2 boys and then a daughter. Unlike me, I got daughter, oldest, and then 2 boys, younger. He's like the inverse. And I'm like, man, we're graduating to the next stage of deer camp. We're gonna have
different.
a kid here next year,
Mhm.
and it won't be long until I'm assuming some of my kids might want to explore deer camp and see what it's like and test the waters. And I'm standing by this waterfall in this creek, and I was like, this is where I killed my literal first buck ever. And I've been coming to these woods for like 14, 15 years now. And that's super freaking special. So much of my life has changed in so many significant ways. And I've had
That is the one constant.
it's constant. And the woods change too. And like this tree is now not there or like stuff like that, but they're there. The woods are still there. The deer are still doing the same type of stuff every year. The water's still flowing down that creek. There's still the same stuff. The memories still live there. And it's like, man, I'm getting sentimental. It's like super freaking important
Yeah,
to me.
that is. It absolutely is.
And so I went to the pine spot where I killed the buck this year, and I mostly just sit there because it's therapeutic. I love the tall
You
pines.
have a special
The
connection. to that
smell, the
spot.
soft ground.
It's very
the-
soft. Like you can't hear
No.
a deer walking on that stuff because it's so bedded with pine needles.
love
Years
it.
and years of
The wind
composted pine
blowing through
needles.
the pines. The owls live in that area, so you can hear them crystal clear. And deer move through it. It's whatever. But like I'm at that point, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I've been sitting. I feel like I have to sit that spot because it's important to me to ground myself. And I don't mean ground in some hippy dippy, take my fucking shoes off kind of way. I mean like I sat in this spot.
He takes his pants off
Fif-
and he sits bare ass.
Yeah, I do.
Well, that
15
was
years
that
ago?
jalapeno and cream
Yeah.
cheese
Yeah.
canned venison.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Sorry for diminishing
I
your
did find
moment.
some toilet paper back in
I
that
wasn't
area.
trying to diminish your
But no,
moment.
it's
But we did.
so you're going up north to your like cabins are that. Certain slices of woods are that.
It's
The literal tree is that.
I don't want to say it because I don't want to believe it, but I have reason to believe that we are getting old in the fact
Yeah.
that like we're reflecting in a different way.
Because I'm thinking
We're
it helped me
graduating,
be
We're
boys. You're
reflecting.
graduating.
Like,
a
yeah,
little bit.
like that was a huge moment. Like
another
to
step in
go
the
back to this
journey.
hallowed ground that's like the special place,
Yep.
which is super cool. This year for me was total like Dad shot this buck. I brought him out there. It's a spot he's never been. He
If the
shot it.
tables
I
had
was like,
turned.
Dad, I'll gut it for you. You know, he's got deer for me before.
Yep.
I'll drag it for you. You know, and it was just like, man, it was just like a moment of like the tides have like turned a little bit.
Mhm.
Like my dad's getting a little older. He's harder walking. His back's been bad, and it's like he told me, he's like, I can't.
But the
He's
woods
like, I
are
can't
the
do this.
same,
He's
right?
like, I couldn't do this if it
Yeah.
was just me. He's like, I couldn't.
Yeah. So that's very special.
And it was like a moment where I was like, holy shit, like times have
Yeah.
changed.
Mhm.
It really has. Like what you have in your head of something is like, it's all changed a little bit.
Yep. It's-
Not in a bad way, not
No.
for better, not for worse.
No, but it caused me
just
to think of the
changes.
future. I'm like,
Changes.
so 15 years has gone by in the blink of an eye, and these woods have been the same. That's the constant, is Greg. This is what's grounding me a little bit.
Mhm.
And suddenly I had this thought of like 15 more years is gonna be another blink of an eye, but I'm gonna be at a different spectrum at that point.
Totally different.
And like that's 30 years of stories that will live in this geographic longitude and latitude in the state of Wisconsin, pending I don't move to some other state or do some shit. I don't know. But that's wild. It's wild. So it really grounded me in the present. And so I did a better job of like, no phone at the card table tonight. I'm going to listen to what you're talking about. I'm going to hear your stories. I'm going to listen to you joke with my other buddy over there. I'm soaking this in. And so I don't know if it's an age thing or what's happened, but I was like, it's important to soak it in because it's fleeting. The weekend's done. It's gone. Over. It happened like that.
Something
I
you look
cherished every
forward
part
to
of
for
it.
so long.
And
it's
part of the
just
part that I
over.
love the most is getting there, meeting everybody up there on the stretch of road. And we all go and do our things. Well, this is the spot. No, that's the spot. I'm going to do this year, and I'm going to do that this year. And we'll do the same thing. anyway.
362 days away.
We bring beers out there. Mike and I, Joel's hanging a set. Mike and I are cracking beers in the woods on the Scout and Snoop and Poop Friday. Like that's one of my favorite activities is just being out there and like revitalizing all of it and like, let's go, baby. This
Getting
is here's
excited.
gonna happen.
It's always the excitement, right? The
anticipation,
anticipation
the
is
prep.
what it's all about.
Yep. The shit talking. I'm gonna be out by 9 a.m. tomorrow, guys. So I'm gonna tag a deer. Y'all. Like everyone's just talking shit. Like, so I don't know. Deer camp's very, very special. I hope you guys like this episode.
I did.
I don't know. I love this is all even even the progression of the pod. Derek, you were in here. Your first episode as a co-host, formally-ish or whatever this all is, was when we had just drywall hung in the cement floor in here. Greg came along. We were in the bedroom. My son has that room now. His old fucking carpet and nasty, weird shit. You're coming upstairs to my there's the master bedroom where I sleep. That's
Shit,
awkward.
I can think back to the first time
You were on the
guys
podcast 2 or
invited
3
me on
times.
the
Yeah.
podcast when I lived up in Coleman. I was pacing around the house. We just put the kids to bed. I was so nervous. Like, Jesus Christ, fucking podcast. I'm pacing. Ashley's like, sit down. You're making me nervous. I'm like, I'm so nervous.
Oh yeah. I shared that with you guys like a couple weeks ago. I was like going through YouTube archives. I'm like, there's Derek, the first debut. There it is.
Yep.
You know,
Shit,
crazy.
that's a while ago.
So
Yours is even longer.
So it's cool to have a camera guy there to document some of this. It's cool that we do this podcast. Like our kids can listen to this. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're existing here and we're leaving an imprint that's going to last longer than us, which is just weird and wild. So why do you do it? I don't know. I love all of it. That's why. All of it. Well, you don't butcher your own deer. You take it to you're not a real hunter. Are you fucking kidding me? Let's talk about that. Let's not. Let's end the podcast. See you guys. Have a good night.
Shoot straight. Kill a deer.